Hey everybody, we're live, back again. It's Thursday, and I told you I'd be back on Tuesday, like every Tuesday and every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central European Time, 11 p.m. Asia Time, and 12 p.m. or a.m. Central Eastern Time. Sorry, Eastern Time. Anyway, this is where we're at. I'm Stefan Roost. I'm the founder of Laguna Labs, which is the developer behind the Truflation protocol and the Truth network that we've built out. As I do every time, we basically will just cover off a bit of what's going on a macro perspective, share some insights and what we're seeing. Number two is we'll go into some of the ongoing what's going on at Truflation, and then address some of the questions and concerns that you have across the community. That's what we do every time, and welcome to the show if this is your first time listening. We generally get about 7,000 viewers of this podcast, so it seems to be of interest to the community, and I'm glad to share with you more about what's going on at Truflation and just sharing some of the macro overview that we're seeing in this space to help you navigate the landscape from a macro perspective. One thing that I thought was really interesting, there was a number of different interviews. I'm going to go into a bit of what Paul Tudor Jones spoke about, what we're seeing about US debt. We all know that that's growing astronomically high. It grew in the last 3 weeks alone by $500 billion, so 400 and something billion dollars, hitting about $35 trillion debt load. And what does that mean? How is that impacting the economy? And there was an interview on CNBC with Paul Tudor Jones. Paul Tudor Jones is sort of one of the legendary hedge fund managers out there. And he was sort of discussing, I'll just play it here so you can hear it live here. And yeah, we'll just play and then you can make a decision. But it's about 10 minutes long. I'm not going to go through the whole 10 minutes. I've obviously selected out the last section, which I thought was really interesting given the size of the US debt market, right? And one of the things that he's saying is, listen.
I am clearly not going to own any fixed income, and I'm going to be short the back end of fixed income because it's just
I am not going to own any fixed income. What's that mean? He's not buying US bonds or treasury bills, right? Why? So he doesn't see the upside in that right now. So he is not buying bonds. So if he's not buying bonds, who is going to be buying the US dollar debt? So those are things that I think we need.
the wrong price.
So that's just a quick summary. I mean, you can watch the whole video, and he talks a lot about inflation as well, right? So I'll let him talk to you about that, and you can watch that on YouTube. It's just 10 minutes. But yeah, the debt is growing, right? And ultimately, people, as you've seen in the previous shows, we've shared with you how people are feeling around the US economy, what's its impact on the marketplace, and how's that going down, right? The other thing we're seeing is that the housing market just doesn't seem to be picking up, right? So here, a quick insight into US housing sales, right? They're dropping, right? So since 2021, 22, 23, 24, it's just been a constant decline in sales. Now, you can argue that's because interest rates have gone up, right? We saw a dramatic rise in interest rates, ultimately making mortgages more expensive, ultimately leading to the cost of housing and the settlement of debt associated with the housing going up. And so that's been a deterrent for a lot of people to invest and purchase new houses. And so now you hear and you see a decline in housing sales. And why is that, right? I mean, the other element that is super interesting is it doesn't seem as though mortgage rates are reflective of the change in pricing. The Fed cuts, right? So we're seeing the Federal Reserve cut interest rates, but that is not trickling down to mortgage rates. And this may partially be because of the hold to maturity of the unrealized losses experienced at the banks. We saw last time, we shared with you the unrealized losses and the impact of that, right? And so if you remember, we shared what that looks like. Let me see if I can just pull that up again somewhere in here. Yeah, it's like pretty drastic. I think we shared it last. Yeah, here we go. Check this out. I mean, yeah, this is just to highlight the unrealized losses in the banks. And if you look at the amount back in 2008, when we had the global financial crisis, look how big that was. The 2018 pre-pandemic, there was also a big bulk building up, right? But here, this is due to largely the amount of debt held by these banks to maturity associated with treasury bills at 0% interest rate. Nobody wants to buy those. So they've dropped in nominal value. And obviously, if they wait through till maturity, they get it back 1-to-1. But right now, it is in the accounts as a significant loss because it's trading below its nominal value. Nominal value is $1 to $1. But currently, people are trading that at, let's say, maybe 60 cents or 80 cents or 90 cents, depending on the day and depending on the mood and the sentiment, right? There's a good website, US Treasury Yield curve.com, where you can actually see the yield curve itself. Here we go. Switch to this tab. Here we go. And here you can see what does that tab look like, right? So here you see the US Treasury yield curve, and you can see that 1 month yield curves are trading at 4.9%. So that means I buy your loans and I will earn I will buy this, giving you the money, and you pay me 4.9% interest in 1 month. So why would I lend you money if I'm earning 4.9% with just 1 month duration, and I can roll it over every month and earn 4.9% every month, versus at a 3-year, I'm earning 4%. So I'm losing a whole 1% in that loan for giving and locking my funds up for 3 years. I'm getting that 4% is, and think, I mean, it's like the APY, right? I mean, and so that's what the yield curve is, right? And that's a combination of interest on that loan at that for that duration, plus the price that it's trading at in the market at a discount to the nominal value, right? So that's how that's structured, and that's how people are trading. So at the moment, everybody's just buying the 1 month yield curve and trading on that. And the interesting thing is that seems to be having an impact in the market as to why a lot of these banks now can't afford to pass that drop in interest rates on to the mortgage bank customers, so they can make up a bigger spread and make up for the hold to the unrealized losses that they've incurred. And so, yeah, that's it. You can see held to maturity losses is a big portion of it, but still available for sale securities, right? So it's not just held to maturity securities, it's other assets and securities that they're holding on their balance sheet where they're losing a lot of money. Anyway, so it seems that buying T-bills, tokenized T-bills, et cetera, is not the smartest thing to do. And we've come up with a lot of interesting aspects, and I'll come to those a little bit later in the sharing shortly, right? The other thing that was really big this week was Tesla, right? Tesla just announced their earnings yesterday, and it was way better than expected. Top line sales did not really grow that much, but the bottom line grew from earnings per share from, I think it was 60 cents that the market was anticipating, to actually 72 cents per share. And the outlook looks pretty rosy. They focused heavily on the self-driving cars, FSDs, right? That's the future. And if you listened to their projections into the future, that's really what it was about, right? They were talking about, you can listen to the whole element here.
Tesla Roadster deposit holders.
So you hear Elon Musk and his team talking about how they focus, how they are building and what they're focusing on in the future, right? So it's only cars with FSD, right? So it's full self-driving cars. That's what they're building on. That's the future. That's what they're going for. They're also growing for they're Optimists, right? Or I can't remember the name of it, but they're robots, right? That's what they're building out. And then lastly, energy banks, right? So they're building out energy banks at a rapid pace, right? The capacity in the US is hitting sort of it's the output in terms of terabytes, not quite terabytes yet, but gigawatts coming out in terms of storing energy. And that what's coming out of China with the new factory coming online in Shanghai, they will soon be able to hit a number that is really significant in terms of being able to store electricity. What does that mean? Electricity will come in new sources, and forms, right? So we talked about SMRs last time, right? Nuclear reactors, small nuclear reactors that, number one, you're seeing power banks being built out. You're seeing solar panels being generated. Those energy generated and captured by those solar panels being able to be stored in power banks. Those then being able to be added to the grid and being distributed. So there's excess demand, excess supply in power from the power banks can be distributed into the grid and shared amongst people that the consuming side that need to consume that power, right? And you saw Tesla stock bump about 17%. And so that actually had a significant impact. You can see that Elon Musk gets 20% based on his earnings and based on his holdings in Tesla. His share jumped by $20 billion based on the 17% rally in the stock, right? So so owning stock has helped generate wealth, and we see that in tokens, right? If you hold tokens, despite the European government not being too happy about people owning and getting in early and being unfairly rewarded, you're seeing that actually happen on the other side, where it's across all businesses, right? So everybody should be able to participate in holding and taking a risk by participating in these companies earlier on. You then can benefit the reward, but there is also risk, right? It may not be successful. Bitcoin, who thought Bitcoin when it was at $3 would ever be successful, right? I mean, that was so uncertain, and we never knew whether it would actually grow and take off like that. And so those are just things that people just don't know, and ultimately you get rewarded for participating and taking that bet that it will go there. And famously, what shares that reward is, look at this. This is the economist, the allured economist, the smartest PhDs and economists, and 900 PhDs working at the Economist, all with huge opinions and trying to define how the market goes. They always get it wrong. FT, economists, the PhDs at these media companies, at the governments, they don't know where the market's going. They would never have predicted Bitcoin go from where it was back in 2000. And this was when it was like $3 and the bubble is bursting, right? Today it's $60,000. It's nearly $70,000. You see meme coins. Who would have thought meme coins blew up the way it did, right? So none of this is really clear, and they can't tell, but people believed in it. They evangelized it. They built commerce around it. They built solutions around it. They built peer-to-peer trading capability. They did transfers ability. They enabled transfer of money associated with the Bitcoin, etc. They built communities around it. They built a cult movement behind it, right? And that's the same with Bitcoin, any currency out there for that matter, right? And we see thousands of currencies in the fiat world. Maybe not thousands right now, but maybe a couple of hundred are out there in the fiat world. So why shouldn't there, in the digital realm, have multiple cross-border movements and cultural affinity resembled in the form of a currency? So we have about 15,000 currencies in crypto if you look at CoinGecko and you look at the number of currencies listed there. So there are movements, communities, utilities using the currencies and the underlying tokens that are needed for that. And we do the same at Truflation, right? So you need the Truth token to be able to access the data availability layer of the Truth network. And so that's what we are building out. And that's what you're seeing in the market today. And we need to reward early adopters, venture capitalists, etc. all get a piece of this. And what we've always been saying at Truflation Nation is that the crypto markets resemble a venture capital business, and it gets marked to market every single day. Not in your book on a balance sheet and you wait till the next round of investment and you hope it's an up round, and then it's basically people exchanging and trying to push the valuation to the next round and then hitting the next up round, right? And so it's actually marked to market every single day, which is a very different environment and a very different situation. But you also have the holders of the token being true believers. The ones that wanted to sell out are already gone, but this is the true believers associated with that. So we also talked about unions last time. I don't want to go into this too much, but the interesting thing is after Tesla's been asked, or SpaceX, has been asked to go and save the Boeing space. What do you call them? Space astronauts, spacemen, space people, and go and save them up there. All the meanwhile, they try to, made satellite breakup in space, right? So satellites from Boeing don't seem to be working, whereas Starlink's satellites seem to be working pretty well. You have, in the meantime, you have the Boeing employees all the legacy industries that are trying to operate in normal ways are really struggling in this environment, right? They're trying to get a 64% raise, but actually bear in mind, right, this isn't a raise that happens over one go to the next. This is over a period of 3 to 4 years usually where this raise then happens. So they don't need to negotiate anymore. The raises are settled for the next 3 or 4 years, and they can plan their OPEX accordingly. That's sort of really, that's what happens there. And if you follow Truflation on Twitter, you'll find out more, and you can stay abreast with all the activities there. One of the things that was the case was we were in Argentina. So now I'm going to go into a bit more on Truflation, what's going on with Truflation. We were in Argentina with the tech forum over there, right? And you can see the video of the tech forum on our YouTube channel over here. And you can see all of the 10 minutes. It's literally 10 minutes. You can watch it at 2x speed, but you get a very clear picture of what Truflation does, and it explains Truflation and the Truth Network and what we put on the blockchain and why it is so vital to have an independent source of truth associated with your economic and financial data, non-biased, independently verified, as well as independently stored and computed in terms of the indexes being computed. And one of our partners that we're working with on building out Truflation and the Truth Network and our Truflation Stream Network is Quill. And I just want to share what they posted just the other day. Composability, right? The difficulty is, if you think about it, we have over 100+ items that we track on a daily basis. How do we ensure composability associated with that data? How do we recognize what type of data it is? And how do we integrate it into the other data sets associated from other suppliers, other countries, into the same category and bracket? And that is really important, right? Is the secret to unlocking decentralized platforms. So Truflation at the website, truflation.com, is powered, as is index.fund, which we shared with you last week, is powered by the Truflation Stream Network, which is the app chain that we've built out together with Quill. So we're using Quill's SQL, decentralized SQL capability, query language, sequence query language. I can't remember what SQL stands for, sorry, but it's a database technology and protocol. So it takes anyone can compose and invest in other indexes. So that's what index.fund does, as you've seen in the last elements. But I think, just think about it, right? Basically, what Ethereum enabled liquid token markets, the Truflation Stream Network is enabling liquid index markets. So we're providing all the raw data, verified economic and financial data, for anybody to create an index and leverage the Truflation Stream Network as the platform to compute and govern that index. So if you want to remix it, you need to inform the users, and automatically it gets layered onto the app chain, and you can remix it, and everybody can see the previous version and the new version, and the remixed version is the one that they want to invest in. And so decentralized finance meets decentralized data. That is what the Truflation Stream Network is about. And so we're happy to do that. Together with great partners like Quill. So we have an ecosystem, and we shared some of them, and you know that the Truflation Stream Network is now today maintained by some 20 node operators, and the metrics page will be going live in terms of the numbers. We're launching an Explorer so anybody can see the activity, and we're building that together with Quill. So you will be able to see the activity across the Truflation Stream Network, number one. Number two, you will be able to verify the number of data providers on there and the quality of that data on there. And number two, the total traffic and revenue flow coming across that ecosystem to all the creators of indexes, the data providers that are supplying it, and the consumers of that data into dexes, into index.fund, into truflation.com, or even into lending protocols. And that was brilliant. I don't know if you saw, but we had an amazing meeting in Argentina, so it was a great event. And then Charles Hoskinson just posted out there. I don't know if you can see this, man. Maybe it looks really small out here. So why don't I just blow this up a bit? Yeah. So Charles, who is the sort of figure, what is he here? IOHK. There, look, followed by Truflation and CZ. So Truflation is a super cool idea. And we are going to see if we can use their data to help the pricing of real fi microfinance loans. What does that mean? That means that basically you will have inflation-protected loans in their Cardano real fi microfinance loans. So what does that mean? Microfinance refers to small loans, right? In emerging markets, you don't need to give $1 billion, or you don't need $100,000 to buy a house, but I may need, $200, $300 to build out my whatever I'm doing in that specific market. And I don't know if you remember, there's a Web2 company called Kiva. Man, I'm going back and dating myself, but kiva.org. I don't know if they're still around. Do you know that? Any of you know kiva.org? So Kiva.org was the first internet-based micro loan lending company. So people would donate into a lending protocol, and then they would how do you want to impact? It gives you the option to, I want to do climate advocates. I want to invest in US entrepreneurs. I want to invest in only women-based companies. And here you can see, I want 175 to help Floravina to purchase additional clothing items like shorts, pants. I don't know what that's for, but she needs $50 to go to hit the 175. So tiny microloans to help individuals build out their business. And they have a very high success rate. So the repayment of these loans are very high, and they come with interest, right, to make that possible. And so what Charles and Cardano are trying to do with their RealFi microloans is put that on the blockchain. So anybody with a wallet can access a loan, and the lenders will automatically be reimbursed with inflation protection in there. And so that's what we're trying to do. And so let's see if we can pull that off. And yeah, this was as a result of being in Argentina at the Tech Forum. But not only that, I mentioned last time that we have been talking with the Argentinian government for a number of months now to be able to integrate the data. We had our first step with the launch of the Argentinian index, which you can find on Truflation.com. You can go and see on Truflation.com, you can see the app Argentina. Yeah, so I'm on this app, so you can just go here. You can easily load it. It's loading from the TSN, you see. So the data is coming live from the TSN. So the Truflation Stream Network actually has that data available there. But one of the things that we shared is the fact that we want to have more data. How do we get more data sets? So we sat down with the team that are providing food pricing and agricultural pricing across 1,250 different data sets from the Argentinian government. And so we had an amazing call, and we're looking to take all of these data sets onto the Truflation Stream Network and make that available as public good from the TSN, but also you may want it in a Web 2 format. So how do we do that? How do we work with the node operators to make this available from the TSN? But yeah, we just had that good call, and that will result ultimately in a greater streamlining of the Argentinian data sets. So here you can see it's coming from the TSN, and you can see we have big drops and rises, ultimately because there are gaps in the data out of the US market right now, categories as we do in the US market. So how can we work with the government to get that? You can see housing, again, coming down, right? Food coming down. We talked about last time that food was 21% of the overall importance in the category. And you can see here how health has been going up, mainly because a lot of the subsidies have dropped. You can see household and daily items have been going up a little bit. Utilities have been picking up a little bit significantly due to the subsidies being taken away. As Milei said, he wants to create the freest economy in the world. And so how do we build that and get that going? Let's see. So if we go and we switch that to the centralized network, that's also what is being built out. Let's refresh this page. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, so that's coming together. And so here you can see it's 21% is the food and beverage sector. Housing is 8%, which is sort of what we anticipated, and utilities here as well. So that's pretty much what we've been building out at Truflation. We are still extremely active. So if you're in New York, we work very closely, as most of you know. Anthony Pompliano has been a super champion of Truflation. And right from the beginning was one of our seed investors, not quite investor, but it was a seed champion really early on. and supported us all the way. He's holding his crypto day in New York, Crypto Investor Day, with his entity Reflexivity Research. And you can see we're participating alongside these number of different TradFi participants in the market. 3IQ, they're out of Canada. You have Coinbase is there, Grayscale, B2C, Ledger, Ava Labs, Monad, etc. Tarek Mansour from Kalshi, and yeah, you've got Betty will be there on behalf of Truflation, and you can just see the participation there. Really good. Liquid Mercury, Tony Saliba's there. So a lot of different partnerships potential, and we will be there as well. And we'll be talking about the importance of real-time inflation and how that will change the world. Versus monthly updates using 6-month-old data. You now can have real-time updates with data and real-time compute associated with that data. Yeah, so that's sort of what we've been working on, and we've been heavily developing. I think one other thing is, obviously, a lot of you have come here as well, and what we wanted to do was also give you an update of where we're at with regard to the Truth Token and what's been going on with the Truth Token. We've been really busy since 1 month since the hack on trying to, number one, recover the funds. Number two is build out a strategy and game plan in terms of how we can get away from the overhang that we have, or the Damocles sword overhanging our throat from the hack, which is holding on to 5% of the total token supply. 56 million tokens are out there. So we've built out a game plan. We have audited that game plan. We have aligned that game plan with the exchanges, with the liquidity providers, with the market makers, with the decentralized exchanges as well as centralized exchanges, with the custodians, with the community. We will, so we have had to look across all the 8,000 holders, the amount of coins in those 8,000 holders, ensure we have everything correctly audited, secure, because when we go to market with our solution and game plan, which we will share with you on Monday. So we will be sharing with you the exact game plan on Monday, October 28th. And we will be going live with that game plan on that day. So please stay tuned. Subscribe to Truflation.com. Make sure you go to the right website, Truflation.com. That is the website you need to go to. Follow the Truflation, Truflation, Twitter. I'm sorry I'm so precise, but there will be scammer sites. So please beware. Make sure you check the spelling. Do not haste into this because there are already scammer sites. And we are working with Chain Patrol, who have been a really good support in taking down fake sites, asking you to redeem your old truth for new truth that they will never give you. And so please beware of fake sites and protect your wallets and funds. But that's what we're doing. We will announce that then and there. So please, just beware of that. And if you have any questions, reach out through those channels. Telegram, we also have the Truflation. I am the real S. Russ. Don't believe anybody else. Check out Truflation. Verify first. If you're unsure, just verify. Just go to the Telegram channel, Truflation. Go to the Discord channel, Truflation. Follow us on Twitter. Ask in Twitter. Ask the community. We will be there and supporting directly through DMs, not through public chats. We also obviously had an amazing launch with the deadlift index. So I don't know if you saw the deadlift index. So I'm not going to say much more on that. Sorry. I can't release more information right now as we are working with all the constituents that I mentioned earlier, and trying to get that across the line and align that as we go live to market. And I do not want to give the hackers any kind of ammunition in terms of what we're going to be doing before we actually do it. So we will go live. We are ready. We are working with the exchanges, with the market makers, with the custodians, with the liquidity providers. We are working with everybody to enable and be ready to go live as of next week. So it's coming, it's here. So stay tuned. Yeah, you can see the other thing that we have been building. We're still building, right? We're still hugely distracted. And I can tell you there is a significant cost with this hack to Truflation. And the team has been outstanding, patient, and the community, by the way, equally so, outstandingly strong in helping and holding together and supporting the project. So very happy with the overall community and your patience with us. And we have some ideas in terms of what we're going to do, and we will share that with you once we've gotten over the hurdle of Monday. So stay tuned. That will be coming next Tuesday or Thursday. We will be announcing other activities. Even though we're going to be at FinTech Week next week, and we're going to be in Hong Kong, and we're going to be at SmartCon in Hong Kong that same next week as well. So follow us there. This week we're in New York, tomorrow on Friday, and then next week on Monday we'll be in Hong Kong at FinTech Week, and then on Wednesday and Thursday at SmartCon in Hong Kong as well. But we've been busy. So we're still out there pushing and driving the adoption of the protocol, because no matter how good the technology is, if we don't get the distribution right, it never is the success. It's not the technology, it's actually the distribution. And so how do we drive the distribution and adoption? With indexes. We think that the index coin industry is going to be the next narrative that's going to take place in crypto. Why? Because index in the fiat world, the thematic index industry is an $800 billion AUM industry, right? So huge, ginormous industry. But it takes you over a year to build an index, to get approvals, the licensing, the cost, the lawyers. So not only does it take you a year to get it built and set up, it also costs you millions of dollars. So it's super prohibitive for anybody to set up, and takes out the creativity. So how do we blend the mimetic assets that we've created in crypto, meme coins? How do we take that momentum and that activity and bring that into the blockchain world, taking that huge demand for thematic assets and indexes and combining and smashing those two together and creating indexes? And as you saw on Tuesday, we shared a bit of what we're doing with index.fun. And here, what Truflation has created is the Truflation Deadlift Index. So you guys know Peter Levels. He launched on X the Deadlift Index, and we have now made that available, computed on the Truflation Stream Network using feeds, data sets from the Truflation Stream Network and with Chainlink, and making that available and distributing that out to DEXs and perpetual exchanges where that will be tradable very soon. So stay tuned for that. Watch that. And yeah, you can then trade these assets on indexes. And just to show you what that looks like, you can see here is the deadlift index. I mean, here you go. You got a description of it. The deadlift index merges fitness trends, finance, and corporate performance, stipulating that CEOs who lift weights outperform those who don't on the S&P 500. So here you can see the deadlift index in blue. We've compared it here to the SPX 500, and you can see that it clearly it outperforms. Not clearly, it pretty much tracks, and there are periods of time where it significantly outperforms. You can see who's in it. You have Coinbase, Airbnb, Uber, Goldman Sachs, Amazon, BlackRock, all of these CEOs are in the gym working out, and there are pictures on chain about those. Yeah, and here you go. You can see the breakdown. It's a simple average, weighted 10% across. Oops, I'm not sharing this tab. Oh, it should be sharing. Why is it not sharing? I'm going to stop sharing here and share. Stop sharing. Why is it not sharing? Stop sharing. Anyway, it seems to be stuck. So I can't share anymore. Let me try this. Let's see if I share the screen. It's not allowing me to share. It doesn't like sharing anymore. Anyway, it must be a sign. But yeah, so thanks, Mazhar Chowdhury, for highlighting that. Deadlift index sounds promising. So that's why I just wanted to demo it. How do you think it'll change how investors approach their strategies? Yeah, yeah, the strategies. I mean, in the end, there are a lot of people that can't invest. So 1.7 billion people around the planet that can't invest in shares, number one. And number two, they don't necessarily know which ones to invest in. And I want to invest in a basket. And so I will invest in a basket and then learn about the underlyings. There is also a state, that if you just invest in an index and hold that index versus just day trading inside and out stocks, that you outperform the actual individual stocks by some 17% overall. So that's something to take into account when you buy index. A lot of people like to just invest in index and not necessarily be day trading all the time because they've got jobs elsewhere, but they like the concept, right? So we have a meme coin index coming out very soon. What's that meme coin index? It allows investors to participate in a set of meme coins, and we're going to have a bit of a competition between different types of meme coins. So stay tuned for that one. That's going to be really interesting when we announce that. But that's coming, where people will then be able to why has the recording stopped?